Okay, we got a wild one here. We got how mortgage fraud in the U.S., like mortgage illegal activities in the U.S., are actually in Canada, they're just sort of business as usual. Yeah, let me explain. So, President Trump fired, I don't know if it's going to go through yet, but fired a Federal Reserve governor just last week over the accusation that she was engaged in mortgage fraud. So, what's their idea of mortgage fraud in the U.S.? Because remember, in the U.S., they don't have the fake income problem. They don't have the people using fake income to get mortgages that they wouldn't normally qualify for. They've eliminated that because they've had the IRS linkage to big lenders for 15 years. When the documents come in to a lender, the lender just checks with a direct digital link to the IRS. Says, hey, are these documents real? Yeah, they are real. We're good. That's the end of it. We don't have that in Canada because we're stupid, okay? That's the only thing you could call it. That's all there is, because I've been fighting for it for 10 years, so have other people. But in the States, they have a different kind of mortgage fraud that President Trump was talking about when he fired the Federal Reserve governor. It's about declaring your owner-occupied residence, declaring your primary residence, essentially. So what's it really mean? It's like this. When you might buy a house, and you will say to the bank or the mortgage agent or whoever it is, whoever the person you're dealing with over the mortgage application, you'll say, this will be my personal residence. I will live there. That's an owner-occupied declaration. So that's great. That has a particular pricing attached to it. It has potential for very low down payment. Down payment in the United States can go as low as 3% as a down payment, 97% mortgage. That exists, yeah. So that only qualifies if it's an owner-occupied home. Very similar in Canada, with a twist. But slightly better rates, access to better down payment, lower down payment. What about secondary homes? So a secondary home in the U.S. is like a cottage or you live outside the city and you need a place to stay in the city during the week when you work, whatever, those kind of stuff that's clearly not a rental. And the third category is a rental. So in the U.S., very strict on rentals in the U.S. It must be properly declared. You declare it as a rental, and that it has a different rate attached to it, a different down payment level, a different kind of underwriting the mortgage, different kind of getting through that application. So it's very important in the U.S. that you don't lie about these categories, that you're always telling the truth. So Trump's contention is, and this is not just this Federal Reserve governor, it's others. Let's face it, he's focused on Democrats, but others have not told the truth. That in some cases, the president's suggesting, and this is pretty active in the States right now, it's kind of blown up a bit as a thing, is that people are saying, this is my owner-occupied home, when in fact it will be a rental. And it's become sort of a popular issue to attack people that have some means, that are like well off, is that they'll try to get lower rates and perhaps better down payment provisions by saying, yeah, it's going to be a house that I live in, maybe, but it's not. And this is possible because it's no different in Canada. You could have, if you bought 3 different houses and then applied to 3 different banks on the same week, you could tell them all the same story. They're all going to be owner-occupied. They're all going to be secondary. None of them are going to be rentals. Well, obviously they're rentals, okay? I mean, at least a couple of them are rentals. So it's possible. And that was the accusation that the president was working off of when he fired this woman. So they think that's fraud in the States. They think that's serious. They think that's actually worthy of criminal investigation, get charged, go to court, maybe jail time. Yeah, they take it that seriously in the U.S., that kind of mortgage fraud. That is just a day at the beach in Canada. Like, I'm serious. So in Canada, we have available a secondary home program, which is actually sponsored through CMHC, through the CMHC insurance program that is also works with both Genworth and Canada Guarantee too. If you want to buy a cottage or you want to buy a home for your parents to live in because they need your assistance, or you want to buy a residence for your children to occupy while they go to university in a different town, you are allowed to do so. And it's pretty loose. Like, let's face it, kids are only in university for 4 years. You're not forced to sell at the end of the fourth year. Obviously, it's going to turn into a rental at some point. So all of these things are available in Canada. And by the way, if people lie and say that they're going to live in a property and it turns out no, as soon as they take possession, it's offered for rent and the person never moves in, is that a serious problem in Canada? Don't be silly. Like, no, it's not a serious problem. Like, don't get me wrong. Banks don't want you to lie in Canada. It does piss them off. Like, I know I'm going to get a lot of comments. Oh, no, Ron, you're wrong. Banks don't care. They don't care. Their banks are in on the cheating. I am here to tell you in every possible way they are not. Okay? Like, we have had occasion when people have lied to us and the banks found out about it and said, we're not giving this guy an owner-occupied mortgage. We can prove to you he actually was so stupid that he's put it up as a rental already. He hasn't taken possession yet, but he's advertising as a rental now. Let's show you on wherever he's advertising it. Yeah, that's happened to us. The bank has said, hell no, we're not going to give him that good rate, or we're going to insist on a higher down payment or whatever. Canadian banks do not want this. But is it as serious a shitstorm as it can be in the U.S.? No, it is not that serious a shitstorm. If the bank, after closing and the purchase is completed, if the bank discovers that no, it was never owner-occupied, it's been just turned into a rental, the bank will typically do nothing. They may deny the renewal at some point in the future, but I would say almost universally nothing will happen. So it's radically different here, but it's a goddamn big deal in the United States, to the point where politicians are getting in trouble. Federal Reserve judges are trying to get them fired. Like, the United States has a completely different opinion about fraudulent things and incorrect things and not right practices than we do in Canada. And they're a hell of a lot more serious about it.